Hello everybody, Brook here from Stickmen Media with Sergi, and today we're actually going to talk about modelling the pistol for our game After the Light, our zombie horror game for VR and non-VR. So what I'll do is I'll start that movie going and lead us off, Sergi. Where are we going?
For the pistol, we already had a previous model from the cinematic. So what I first did is separating those parts that I don't need anymore, and put another reference image on the back. But yeah, first of all, we can see that there are two big groups. So one is those models that I do not longer need, and the other one are those that maybe I can use, but it ends up just with heavy tweakings as well. So yeah, in first place I start modeling the cannon, because this is barrel, yeah. And
Cannon's sort of a big gun.
yeah.
So is that what you call it in Spanish, the cannon?
No.
Oh, okay.
How is it in Spanish? I can't remember now. Yeah, I'm not very in weapons thing, but.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I started with this one. Maybe because it's the largest one, it was, I don't know, easy to see. So yes, it was remade completely, because the model that we have, the new concept is completely different to the old one. Well, completely, it's different because it has some special things like this kind of inner face that there will be some engraving inside. And yeah, for the pistol I had to make 4 or 5 normal maps, because in the original concept from Lincoln it was quite tricky to just accomplish that with...
Wait one sec, Sergi.
Yeah.
Guys, can you keep it down back there? Just a little bit quieter. It's hard for us to hear. Cool. Carry on.
So yeah, as I was saying, I had to make 4 or 5, I think 5 normal maps, because it was, the geometry was quite a bit tricky for some of those shapes, and I had to mix both techniques from normal mapping and weighted normals for hard surface. And for this one, for the barrel, it's
For the barrel?
barrel,
Yep.
For this one I used normal mapping, so to get some of the shapes that Lincoln drew in the original concept. So yeah,
Okay.
it was...
So one of the things that's new for me, because I've never seen it with a pistol until the other day when I was having a look over your shoulder, is Bessie engraved on the top of the gun.
Yeah.
Is there a story behind Bessie? Or?
I don't know what that really is. So I just only know I have to add that in texture, but no, I don't know who is. If it's
Seems to be whoever designs guns always adds some little element that is unexpected, because it wasn't in the novel at all. And the last time we had the rifle done, it actually said Vae Victis on the side, which was something from another video game altogether. Woe to the Conquered or something it means.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't know what was the meaning about Bessie.
So this is one of, I imagine, thousands of little Easter eggs that have been planted in the game.
So yes, we have 3 different barrels here, and yes, in Spanish is cañón.
Ah, right.
I remember now. So yeah, it's el cañón de la pistola, the gun's barrel.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, it's now I have 3 different versions of this, but I will only use one.
Ah, Meggle.
Yeah.
We have Meggle. Shuffle over. Let's let Meggle in.
Yeah, and everybody can watch me eat. I know, why don't we just put me on the big screen eating and you guys can commentate that?
How about
That's
I
an
pull that
amazing
chair
subject
around?
for Twitch.
It's a different one.
Yeah, it is.
Pull that
It's
chair
new.
around and then you
That will break the routine.
Yeah, it'll be amazing.
Meggle.
Thank you.
useful that you're here. Apart from anything else, I think my phone battery's flat, so I can't even follow the stream. I am at the moment, but I've got a sliver of red left on my battery.
That's dreadful.
Yeah.
Right. As you
Right, so carry on. Canon.
Still with the Canon. I have different versions because I was trying for the first piece different techniques. Because as I said, the concept was tricky with some of the front parts, and this kind of extrude face that it has, it's pretty hard surface, but suddenly it just transformed in a very soft surface. So it was quite.
Can I tell you what's wrong with that from a gun maker point of view?
What's the wrong with
I'm
it?
sure Sergi wants to know what's wrong with it.
Typically the barrel, even though the outside of the thing might actually change shape, the barrel, both its inner surface and its outer surface, that one piece of metal, would be perfectly round. Because if you flatten it at all, you're creating a weakness. So here, this piece of metal that's on the outside is the same piece of metal as on the inside, so that would actually not be good gun design. You would actually need that inside circle piece to be a separate piece of metal. That was an inside circle, and the outside's just decoration then. So
Okay.
yeah.
So what are we looking at here? Because I'm going to tweet the shit out of it.
This is modelling the pistol for After the Light.
All right.
You can hashtag Unreal Engine if you like.
I am.
Noticed. Oh, you are?
Oh.
Oh, very good.
Pay attention.
Yeah, all right.
No,
I send out my own tweets, so I don't necessarily know what your tweets are, but
I had a good fight with this part of the gun. So was the first one, and maybe one of the most challenging ones for the pistol. I was trying harden edges and soften and see the result in different variations that I have for this. But I don't know if I already bake all the normal maps in here. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not quite sure.
So what would the normal maps be showing at this point? You don't really have any engraving or anything on that? Or?
No, it's just the top part of the engraving. It's a little bit more beveled, but as I said, it finished with the front part being more harder than softer.
Right. Okay.
So that kind of transition.
So it's for being that curve on essentially
Yes.
at the end of the barrel and things like that is how it was.
I wanted to make the hard surface look hard,
Yep.
and the softer ones suffer. So to make those contrasts, I had to make normal maps.
Okay.
So that's the reason. This is one of the pieces I bake.
So this is why 8 normal maps on the...
Yes, for this case I needed a little bit. I tried to avoid with some hard surface, like using only weighted normals technique. But for this case, there are some pieces that require some normal mapping. So I had to make a fast UV mapping here to prepare for baking. And I bake it.
Cool.
So some fast UV mapping, so replacing the model in Maya and changing the material, and just hiding the other. Maybe because that's the.
Fuck.
Oops.
That's the high
Fortunately,
resolution.
believe it or not, this thing is actually Teflon coated.
Is it?
It's
Oh,
my
okay.
party dress. I can do what I like.
Throw drinks on yourself.
Pretty much.
Excellent.
So we can see
Hot one.
the normal map.
The carpet is not Teflon
The
coated.
carpet is not Teflon coated. It is
So there's our normal map.
Yeah.
So that shows all the edges that are being softened up. Or
taking the
Yes.
brunt of my
hardened up.
eating
Yeah.
problems.
And after the result, I just moved to another completely new piece. That is the handle. I don't know if it's the word handle for me.
The grip.
The grip.
Yep. The handle.
So I just started with polygonal modeling using the reference in the background to have the exact or the most similar shape with the original concept, and moving the piece a little bit far away from the reference.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, basically.
Okay, so we got roughly the shape there.
Yes, just blocking the model and then just adding the details later. And for this one, I use normal mapping as well because it has. How to explain this? It has a hole in the top part of the handle where the hammer is located with, with the mechanism part. It's a cog.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had
So there's
to.
a cock and a hole.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
Jesus.
what I was thinking. But
We're definitely going
you
there.
don't want to say that, you know.
So the hammer's sitting in the hole
It's okay.
Above-
You can trust Brook too.
above
Ready?
Okay.
that cog.
Okay, so yeah, after we put the cog in the hole, then we sorry, you're eating.
Hilarious.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's only one way now. It's up.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Yeah, I'm shaping, making the shape better, and just giving some volume after this. Maybe I duplicate and merge the vertex to have a central line. And yeah, this is the new handle, completely different from the other one. Had to be remade from scratch. And yeah, I'm duplicating the shape now.
It's amazing that scratch stuff, you can make anything from that.
Yeah, I don't know what's the meaning of that word, really. I only know that
Scratch
it's used-
means making it from the beginning, but scratch
Yeah.
also sounds like it's a substance. So if you make it from scratch, well, scratch is amazing stuff. You can make anything from it.
I'm going to look up that phrase.
Yeah. Find out where it came from.
So yes, I'm starting to give some volume from another dimension.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds very...
Now what have you got? You've got
Sci-fi.
back, top and side to this, don't you?
Yeah.
Presumably you don't need much from underneath because there's not much mechanism or anything that
No,
happens underneath.
no, but I had to use the normal maps for this piece as well because of the hole in the top.
I think you just like using normal maps.
Yeah, and if you can...
You say that like there's something wrong in there or something suspicious.
This is why we get 8 normal maps on the pistol. Sergi likes them.
if not, it looked like a little bit softer.
Yeah.
Too much suffer from my... Yeah, it's the same because you combine some softer parts and hard parts, and for me, when that happens, it's much better try to get a high
And
resolution
there we go again.
mesh and do it. So yeah, that's a pistol doing this thing.
What have we got sitting down there underneath? That's the parts from the old pistol, is it?
Parts of
Yeah.
the parts that I want to use and
Yeah.
maybe heavy, modify because I had to modify most of those parts.
Do we want to know the meaning of, or the origin of starting from scratch?
Yes.
So, originated in the sporting world, where scratch has been used since the 18th century to describe a starting line that was scratched in the ground.
Oh, right. Okay.
So, unfortunately not a substance, but nonetheless has a,
Makes more sense now.
has a fairly sensible origin. Well, that shut everybody up.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Buzzkill.
Great. Fuck y'all. You're welcome.
We were doing fine till we had your help.
Well, moving on.
Okay.
I'll just keep
Carry
eating.
on, Sergi.
And now positioning some of the old pieces to the new position for the new gun, and just roughly having the new shape displayed on the viewport.
So presumably this works because Lincoln had seen the old gun and started his concept from the old gun. So that's why you can move pieces across between the old and new.
Yeah. Yeah, the new concept is based on the old one, but the result is quite different from the old one because we change loads of parts: the barrel, the handle, the cylinder, hammer, and the trigger, and the frame around the trigger. So basically, it's a new pistol. And yeah, giving some volume for the rear view, back view. And yeah, basically it's like in the crossbow, it's just polygonal modeling all the time, as in the old school. This is the best way to do this kind of shapes.
Okay. That cylinder that the bullets actually fit into, did you end up doing the one that's hollow inside, or?
Yeah, I had to modify the cylinder heavily because because for the cylinder I bake normal map as well.
Yeah.
Because I knew that there were some shading issues in the old model. You were able to see some triangles depending on the reflections. So that's usually because of normal and tangency of the model. So what I did is I needed a high resolution mesh for the cylinder, but I was not able to get it from that model because how the geometry was flowing around. So I had to modify the geometry from the original cylinder. I made the holes in the back as well. So I was able to just...
So that way we can actually put bullets in this one.
Yes.
At some later stage, we're not doing that
yeah.
originally, but at some later stage you'll be able to flick it open, put the bullets in, close it, and fire.
The cylinder is ready for that, but not the interior of the gun. The interior of the gun has to be, there are parts that they are open because there are no polygons, so I should have to close it. That's something that I wanted to be sure the last day when we talk about this. And yes, and for the cylinder is what I said. I had to remake part of the geometry to be able to get a subdivision surface version. So with that subdivision surface, I can use it to bake the normal map to the low poly. So yeah, that's what I was doing. This is another of the parts that I was modifying, as we can see from the original. This is the frame that is surrounding the cylinder.
Yeah.
I don't know the name.
This is a really interesting pistol because it's got the cylinder from your normal 6-shooter, but it's got the look and feel of the old muzzle loading pistol. So it looks like an interesting crossover, essentially between time periods. By the time you actually had revolvers, you already sort of had that classic revolver look. And the first revolver in the UK that was actually used in a murder was a US Civil War revolver.
Okay.
An American guy had actually gone a little bit crazy and thought people were following him, and he shot some poor able seaman that didn't know him from a bar of soap. And that guy got committed to, this is an interesting story, he got committed to an asylum where he had nothing to do, so he started helping compile the Oxford Dictionary with, was it the Oxford? Yeah, Oxford Dictionary.
That's a big twist.
Yeah.
Truly.
I've read a book called The Surgeon of Crowthorne, because Crowthorne Asylum was where he actually was. He was a US Army surgeon in the Civil War, and so he basically did a lot of correspondence backwards and forwards with the people actually compiling the dictionary, essentially helping them put it together and provide definitions for the words. Yeah.
So the surgeon was insane. Marvellous.
Yes, he was insane.
Okay, so you've got a surgeon, mental health issue, and a gun.
Yeah.
Surgeon, mental health issue, and a gun walk into a bar. It ends badly.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. Making more volume for that part because
I'm assuming that cog at the back is part of the cocking technique for pulling back the hammer and.
It's possible. Impossible.
Fucking brilliant.
It's an unusual looking mechanism, and I can't quite see where the hammer is at the moment.
There is no hammer. I had to ready. This is one of the pieces that I had to remake. So
okay.
it was the last one. and it's an interesting part, the hammer, because the hammer was designed in a way that Lincoln and I were talking that we should have to take a look at the 3D model, because in the concept was a little bit tricky how it was in the concept.
So this will be another example where it doesn't quite meet, like almost every other example, it doesn't quite meet the concept art, but it's generally got the feeling.
Yeah, that's it. So yes.
Concept artists must be ecstatic.
Well, they probably are. I mean, their stuff may not make it completely in its original form into the game, but their stuff is usually used, outside the game for marketing. And
I'm joking, really.
I knew that. I was taking the opportunity.
Sensitive, twisted artists.
Yeah.
You know how they can be.
Yeah.
Developers, of course, are straightforward, easygoing people.
Yeah, it's just words and numbers.
Zeros and ones.
Zeros and ones.
Yeah.
Here is the high
You're
resolution.
so busy watching, you've forgotten to do anything.
About what?
The stream.
No, what I realised was I hadn't actually checked that we were transmitting sound, but I just did then. I usually check at the beginning of the stream to make sure the sound's working, because I know a number of times we've set it off and it hasn't been, or there's been echo or something going on.
Okay, and in this stage I already had the subdivision surface 1, the high resolution for the handle, and I'm just building a new low resolution from the high resolution. So that's the common way, one of the common ways for normal mapping. So yes, we can see the hole in top, the hole for
the hammer and
for the
cogs.
Yeah, exactly. And
Well, it's actually only one cog, but it seems to have 2 half cogs in the centre of it. I'm not sure what that's about either, but
it's multiple cogs, I think, that you can put. No. Just
Oh dear.
I think there is one only, and there is a couple of more that I just add as an aesthetic thing at the side. They are partially hidden just because I wanted to take advantage of the old model for the frame. And
Yeah, aesthetic cocks.
aesthetic cogs.
cogs.
Oh, stop it. Killjoy.
I'm cleaning it up for the kids at home.
Yeah.
I told you were getting all lightweight and prude on Twitch yesterday, and you were like, ew. Turns out.
Yeah, but the fuck you show is for adults.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, see, I've been watching other streams, and the ones that do development, I mean, the gamers, they just go nuts and say whatever the hell they want, but the ones that are actually doing development do actually tend to be a little bit constrained in the way they talk.
Absolutely fantastic for them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Our stream has a unique flavour.
I feel no need to copy anybody particular.
And with me even that's a problem, because as I said, for me there's no substance in English. I mean, I don't feel anything when I say words in English, and that's weird.
Yeah, exactly. So, what are you going to do? I mean,
if I have to speak too much, maybe I say something that I should not have to say.
I hope so.
I already did it, so.
Fuck, I hope so. Because Brook surely ain't gonna.
Like fuck yous and fuck you all.
Fuck you. Put the hole. Put the cock in the hole.
Put the cock in the hole.
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
I think we need to mark our stream at the very least that it contains adult content.
It doesn't. It contains a little bit of dodgy language and some double entendre. It's hardly adult content. Jesus, weird.
That's the hole, by the way.
Okay. It's a shallow hole.
Well, they're not very big cocks.
No, just a small one. So.
Oh, Brook.
Carry on.
Yeah, so this is the low poly that I am just building from the subdivision surface 1. Yeah, the hole has hard surface around, but the rest of the handle, as we can see, is a very soft surface. So that's one of the reasons I was thinking in doing this technique for this part. And yeah, I'm building the faces, the loops and everything, and blah blah. As usual. I mean, it's what I have been saying always. Yeah, that's the high resolution, I think. Okay. That's for the cylinder, and this is for the handle, the UV.
Yeah.
It's ever such a character change, isn't it, with the colour?
So again, using 3D coat to unwrap, UV unwrap the thing. Which for people that have only just tuned in is basically making a 2D surface out of a 3D shape, so that we can paint it and put detail on us and so forth.
Now importing back to Maya, applying the material and just sending a triangulated version for X normal to be able to make the normal map. So I'm just preparing all the files, 3D viewer to extrude the cage, and saving the resulting one, and that's a texture from X normal, and I put it on.
So how many
here
layers are there, I guess, in a model? So you start off with what, and you end up with the texture with the normal maps on top, right? So, but how many layers might you end up with, so to speak?
Well, you start with just the low poly model, and from there you.
So what's the model consist of? Does that consist of layers?
No.
Or
it's just geometry.
But I'm just asking
it's just a bunch of faces and vertex that you put together. So you have an object with just a single node. And then what you do is you have the UV mapping. That's just the information about how the texture will react into the surface. So what you do is, as Brook said, you just lay out the 2D version of the 3D one, and then you start adding, all the, first of all is what we say the utility maps, or the maps that you use for something else that it's not painting. In this case, normal mapping or ambient occlusion or curvature or things like that. And then you can use all of those maps together with the normal map that comes the last one, and put it on software like Substance Painter or whatever, and then start painting. So that will be the second phase.
Cool.
And if the model has animations, you have to add a rig after that, and after the rig you have to start animating it. And in the middle of the process there are lots of moments you have to just, as one of the tasks that I have for today, is just cleaning up the model, the nodes, everything, to prepare for another artist or for programmers or for yourself. Just because these kind of models, hard surface, tend to have lots of tiny parts, and you have to be very careful about having lots of nodes and things. So it's very important to be tidy and
make sure everything fits perfectly and is no holes, no gaps, no overlaps, nothing extra, all optimized. So it's quite a process, isn't it? With a lot of different parts.
It's what it is, because I always tend to say, for me it's not difficult, because it's one of the things that I really like about 3D, but depending on the model, if you have too many pieces, it can be quite long, because you have to do one piece, but you have to repeat that for another one. So it depends about how complex is the model. So time and complexity always goes together.
That absolutely makes sense. Cool.
But it's a process that I think it's enjoyable. At least for me, I really like this.
That's a good thing.
So that's why I'm here.
Well, you're kind of building up. You're building something, really, aren't you?
That's what I really like. So when I finish and I see the model on screen, just even the model or the sculpt, the sculpt, when I see it on screen, and you can say, oh, that's from zero, or that's something that you build yourself from scratch. So that's really good. I think that's a very good thing that makes you feel like you made something.
Absolutely. So I can totally understand that. Cool.
So but it's a process. So 3D always is a long process. So
that absolutely makes sense.
And this is the frame for the trigger. I had to build from scratch because it's completely different. The old one was a little bit strange with
you couldn't quite get your fingers in the right places,
yes,
could you?
just one finger.
One tiny finger.
Yeah, it was
E.T.'s finger.
yeah.
Oh.
Exactly, it was like strange and difficult, so we decided to change completely this part.
Yeah.
And this final one is much more classic because we already have seen this kind of frames. I don't know how to say it, but
That's the trigger guard that you're working
yeah,
on. Yeah.
And this is a simple one. I didn't use any fancy technique for this. I just extruded faces, just to give some more quads to give some more roundness. But didn't use any normal map or didn't use any kind of weighted normals as well. So it just plain polygons in hard edges.
Yeah.
So
that's actually weighted normals you're saying, isn't it? Weighted normals. Is
Weighted,
that right?
yeah.
Okay.
Weighted. It's
So what do we mean by weighted normals? Because it's easy to kind of use this kind of language and not maybe everybody understands what that actually means.
Yeah. Well, for hard surface, you have the traditional way to fake the normals with the normal map. That's what we have seen at the moment with the handle and such. But the other technique is one called weight normals. That what you're doing here is just Maya has I have a plugin for Maya that calculates the vertex normal position perpendicular to the face, to the other faces, and what it does is basically change the position of the normal to make you see the object correctly in all angles, and it gives you the impression that it's a high poly thing because it has bevels and things like that very well done. So
the weighting of the normals is essentially, so if you're going around a curve, right, so your curve would actually be something that's quite hard.
Yep.
But so if you twist the normals, the closer you get to that edge, the more you'd actually tilt them, the more you'd weight them so that they tip over.
Yep.
yeah.
So that creates, when you look at it, the light
The
reflecting
impression
off
of
it
a
makes it
curved
look like it's a curved surface. Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it's another way to just play with hard surfaces with not having to use normal mapping. This technique was heavily used in Alien Isolation, for example, one of the games, and you can see it's everywhere. So they use.
Have you played Alien Isolation?
Yes.
Okay.
And in non-VR and in VR as well. So
okay. What was it like in VR?
It's very good. So it was a mod made by a fan, but it was very well done. But the game itself is very good. It's perfect.
Okay. So definitely one for us to have a look at.
Definitely.
Now you play a lot of horror, don't you? Quite the horror fan.
Yeah.
Which is good. You're actually, surprisingly, for a horror studio, you're probably one of a few, one of two maybe, horror fans back there.
Yeah.
Linda's not really a horror fan, although she makes beautiful zombies.
That's all that matters.
Yeah. Lincoln could be. He's certainly got a dark mind.
Well, he's got a dirty mind. I don't know if it's the same.
No, dark mind. To remember the beef-eater zombie?
Yes.
That was dark.
That was very, very dark.
Yeah.
I use weight normals in this metal piece.
Okay.
So
those sharp edges look
yes.
round. So it's all smoke and mirrors, isn't it? It's all smoke and mirrors to make it look. Do you know that expression?
No.
Smoke and mirrors. So you can use smoke to obscure certain things and mirrors to make things appear not really as they are.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Magician's tricks.
Magician's tricks.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
Visual tricks to make you think you're seeing something that you're not.
It's something very similar to that when playing with the normal position. So yes, it's very similar.
That's really cool.
Weighted normals, definitely smoke and mirrors. That's the
Smoke and
yeah.
I made the same thing for the trigger.
As opposed to smoking a pancake, which is something else.
Smoking a pancake? Yeah, that's really different.
I knew that would set you off.
Bong and a blintz. Cigar and a waffle.
Right.
Pipe and a crepe. No?
Just listen to Margaret to her movie.
Then there's no pleasing you. I am just one big bag of triggers, really, as you pointed out so kindly. Thank you.
When did I say that?
Oh, about 7 Twitch streams ago.
I said you're a bag of triggers?
Pretty much. Something like that.
Insightful.
Maybe not a bag, but it was something that was a lot to do with triggers.
I just redid that part.
Okay.
For the cylinder. It's just the... for me, it's another frame.
Yeah.
It's just a static mesh that is just behind the cylinder. So, yeah. Because the cylinder changed a little bit his shape, I had to change this one.
And as you said before, you're going to drill holes in this cylinder.
This, yes.
Yeah.
The holes were added later. But they are not recorded, I think.
Okay.
I think. I can't remember. I think not.
If you've seen Matt doing his reload of the gun thing, where he flicks the cylinder out to reload it and then flicks it back in. It was pointed out that would be a nice animation to actually have with the new gun. So when you've done 6 shots, click, click.
That would be super cool.
Or perhaps out this side, since you'll be right-handed and loading with your left. Maybe both. Just mirror it,
Yeah.
depending on if you're left-handed or right-handed.
In the old days, did they have left-handed and right-handed guns?
Well, there's nothing
Must
really.
have done, because you... Well, for loading purposes, does the barrel swing both ways?
There's
so to
nothing
speak?
really left-handed and right-handed about guns, other than things like safeties, because everything else is sort of symmetrical.
Yeah, but if the
You can
barrel
reach
swings,
the trigger from both sides.
then if you're...
But yeah, certainly dropping out the cylinder would be.
So there is such a thing as a left-handed and right-handed gun then. If it's the safety and the barrel both have to be set up right for you, then...
Do you know, I actually don't know. I'm assuming with competition guns there would be, because they're made to sort of fit in your hand a particular way.
Yeah.
But
But I'm thinking about like in the
standard guns?
old days.
oh, they just
go
shot
have a look.
left-handed people in the old days, so I don't think they. Oh, sinister actually means left-handed. So
Well, it means left.
if you
yeah.
were sinister, then
No.
bang. It means you're a witch. They'd try to see if you weighed the same as a duck.
Oh, there's a lot of silence.
Yeah.
This is the engravy part.
In gravy.
Engravy part. The metal part.
Right.
I don't know what I'm saying. It's engraving, no?
Yes,
Yeah.
engraving. Yes.
Engraving.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
say
there's the
engravy.
cocky part
With the engravy.
and the triggery explodey part.
An engraved cocky. Yeah. Yeah.
Every male viewer just winced at the
I'm removing the faces from
the underside. yeah.
inside. Yeah.
Sorry, what are you doing to the faces?
Removing them.
Removing. Nice.
Yeah.
It is dark.
Yeah. Person that I don't like, I remove his face.
Yeah. Off with his face. Fuck you.
Focus.
Yeah, fuck you. It's off with your face. I'm done with your face.
Yeah. I will put your vertex straight.
There's such a lot of threat in that, isn't there?
Oh yeah.
Watch your vertices.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Be careful your
Alright.
edges.
You offer to straighten a man's vertex, that could be taken any number of ways.
Well, it doesn't sound pleasant.
My first try here was use weight normals as well,
Mhm.
but I end up faking normal maps because I needed a clean look and a better bevel.
Yep.
So I just made a quick normal map. I had the high resolutions and the low ones, so I just did it.
See, with your job, you've had to learn all kinds of English words that most people would never need to learn, haven't you?
Yeah, Yeah, that's the curious thing, because I feel myself that I defend myself using these kind of words much or less, more or less better, but not when I try to just have a single normal conversation. That's more difficult.
That's
to me.
ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like more word proficiency or something like that.
Yeah.
That's enough. So you only have to speak about the things you know and
Fuck the rest.
and
Not focus
and
on the
go
rest.
focus. Yeah.
Oh well, that works fine.
Yeah.
And you make yourself understood really rather well. So
I don't know. Yesterday I went to the dentist at night, and I was not able to say any kind of word in English. It was extremely difficult. Not because my mouth was open, no, because I was trying to have a normal conversation, but I don't know. It just
nothing came out.
Disconnected. Yeah, it was very weird.
and presumably she didn't speak Spanish.
No.
That's unfortunate.
No, it's from here, from New Zealand. It was speaking very fast.
Oh dear.
And yeah, my translator was like broken. That was like worse, even more broken.
Hilarious.
Hey, do you know how they greet each other in Tagalog in the Philippines?
No,
¿Cómo está?
that's Spanish.
Yeah.
Huh?
So yes, the days when Spanish actually
Yeah.
controlled the Philippines. So
Yes.
there's lots of the elements of Spanish language still in there.
I had a friend, a Philippine friend, a long time ago, in the school.
And so you would have had a lot to say to each other.
Were you able to? Could you actually talk to him in Tagalog?
To what?
Tagalog,
That's
the
a no
language,
then.
the national language.
And so what now?
Yeah, Gallup is international language.
Tagalog is the international language for the Philippines. So
Okay.
the national language for the Philippines.
Okay.
But it wasn't, because the Philippines is a whole lot of different provinces and regions that all have their own languages.
Yeah.
Not just dialects, actually completely different languages.
Yeah.
So Tagalog is the one they're all taught in schools so that they can all talk together.
Now we were speaking in Spanish.
Okay.
Can I just point out that we've just lost half of our viewers throughout that conversation?
Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. God forbid I should say anything interesting.
Maybe we should focus on
Focus.
the weapon and the job.
Yes. So this is one of the last pieces. Was in the last day. This is the hammer, or just the support piece for the hammer. This was the trickiest one because, as I said initially in the concept, it was not very clear a couple of things, but Lincoln and I made a good job in just fixing this and had some different ideas for this.
Okay.
And it worked pretty well. So yeah, at the end, this part looks very nice, I think, and believable. That's important.
Super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started with this shape that I just trying to figure out exactly how will I be able to put that piece in the handle and at the same time for the cylinder and blah blah. It was like difficult and following the concept, but then I just changed. We will see that I will break that piece in half.
Yeah.
And I'll put something like, I don't know, a base that is 90 degrees and just fits correctly with the handle. So yeah, now I am not doing too many things, but I am thinking in a very fast way, trying to figure out how to do it. So yes, I'm just changing and trying things for the base, and we will see that I will leave this part aside for a moment, and I will focus in and in the hammer itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yes, the result is pretty different to what we are seeing now, because as I said, there were not too many references for this one, and it was quite tricky, challenging.
So why is the hammer sitting outside of that hole instead of in it?
No, that's not the hammer. That's the support for the hammer.
Oh, right. Okay.
The hammer comes later.
Okay.
So this is like the idea of the concept is that this is just it's in the handle with a screw.
Okay.
Screw it.
Yeah.
I think it's your swearing that puts people off,
I wasn't swearing, I wasn't saying a word. Everybody disappeared. You started talking about Tagalog and everybody went, I'm out.
No, I think they'll previously thinking, boy, there's a lot of swearing in this stream.
They're hanging out for more. So tell us about the screwing.
Yeah, that's it. So I think there is a screw going in that piece and putting into the handle and doing something like this and go right to the cylinder, and then there is the piece, the hammer piece, that now I will sketch now and see. So yeah, I'm just using quad draw directly into the reference to get one single shape and start extruding that shape later. But at least I have that weird plane.
Yeah.
So yeah, it changed a lot.
Just
No, don't focus too much to the,
well,
end, the
essentially
result
the
is
hammer's
different.
Wait
outside of
till
the
the
channel,
end.
so that's why I'm.
Yeah. You will see. It will change.
Okay, cool.
So it will be inverted. So I realized that in the last hour. So when I tried to rotate, and the hammer was outside the cylinder, so everything is under control.
Okay. Don't panic, written
I
loudly on
love
the
your
cover.
reassuring tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because you'll be seeing the back of this all the time, so you would know if it's not going to work.
No. So yeah, but I don't know what to say, but yes, it's like a quite tricky thing for me because the concept has this shape with a hammer, so it pointed like outside the cylinder.
Yeah.
So that was confusing at the beginning, and
Yeah.
from behind you see a different position. So that was the thing that Lincoln and I had to talk about this.
Yeah.
And finally,
So I understand. So he wanted to get that nice screw
yes.
thing sitting on the base of it, but that screw could still sit there as long as the hammer's on the inside of that plate.
Yes, so that
Yeah.
was completely outside. That's the reason when I realized about this and said, oh, it's outside, I just decided just to invert it.
So there are people that actually specialise in modelling guns. Did you know that?
Yeah.
They do
that's
nothing
what it
but
is.
modelling guns. That's
Yeah.
their things, and they,
They probably don't have limb libraries
No.
like Sergi.
no.
No, man, that's a special collection.
Yeah,
No.
it's very special.
Yeah, no.
Sergi specialises in limbs and organs.
We worked with a guy called Christian before, and he just knew stuff about guns. So, you're not the sort of person you wanted to put a model up that you hadn't really, investigated something. You would be able to tell you if the safety
No.
was in the wrong position or the.
Yeah, no, after this at home before I just finished this, at home I was seeing lots of videos from revolvers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the thing, that's the reason it will change. So at the beginning we can see the support piece has a different
You didn't
thing.
come shooting with us that time, did you? Pistol shooting.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Did we?
Yeah. But
Sergi's not big on loud noises.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's quite a lot of loud noise for shooting.
There is a lot of loud noise for shooting. Notably, there's lots of bang, bang happening all the time. Every time you pull the trigger, or mostly every time you pull the trigger.
Hopefully, or something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
And for my limbs I use knives, so I don't need
Cool.
You don't really need the gun, do you?
or
Only
axes,
you've got the crossbow as a backup.
crossbows or the taser.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The eye pokey taser implement. Double threat eye
Yeah.
poker.
So yes, this piece in conjunction with the Canon no,
Barrel?
the barrel.
Yeah.
It was, both of them were the trickiest ones for the pistol, from my point of view.
Mm-hmm.
This one being the most trickiest, or the trickiest. I had to improvise lots of things, but at the end I think it looks really nice, or believable about what a pistol is. So yeah, as we can see, this support piece is completely different from the beginning. Now it's not doing a diagonal, it's doing something more metallic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why?
Oh, very quiet. It's echoing.
Well, you kill the conversation basically. You go, oh, you talked and viewers dropped off. And we go,
Well, they seem to like it when we were talking about modelling and the odd thing. They just
okay.
didn't quite so keen on the
I
extended
don't think we should pay
conversation.
too much attention to that. That's up and down all the time.
All right, well, you continue your conversation there.
People go to have lunch.
Or sleeping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we wouldn't want to pay attention to what happens with the viewers, would we? That would be foolish.
Well, not at the time, because the view, when you actually look at the stats later, the stats are different to what you get the impression of the views as you go through.
Reasonably sure nobody cares about this conversation either.
Well, they might be twitchers, in which case, don't distress yourself too much by looking at the views.
I'm not distressed at all. You're the one that's all offended about how you thought you were so interested.
Jesus. Okay.
Oh, don't bring it up, and I just won't have the opportunity.
Very good.
Carry on.
So, still fitting the hammer.
Yeah, there was a lot of work in here because of improvisation and things like that. But with good result at the end, so with happy ending.
With the cock and the hole and the screwing and the happy ending, it's just fucking marvellous, isn't it? This is an
It's
awesome.
a fuck you show.
Yeah, is it ever? It's the ultimate fuck you show.
Yeah.
You might be right about adult content after all.
Indeed.
Wow.
This place is my second
So,
office.
so now we've got this in place. This is where you're actually.
Yeah, the idea is this. So I needed this piece like fit correctly into in all the places. I mean, in the handle and
Yeah.
touching the other metal part and things like that. Before I will be able to just change the other one, the hammer. So yeah. There was they are small parts, but they were like naughty parts.
Yeah.
in
Also,
some
the
way.
parts you will be looking at, because they're right in front of your face, essentially.
Yes, it's something that you will see, and I have to add that I used the weights normal techniques for this. Nothing about normal mapping, just weights normals. So slowly, it's just like coming up a new version of this and seeing everything different.
Mm-hmm.
But it needed to be different because, as I said, there were like not consistency in the drawing. In the draw.
Oh, so what are we taking out there? Oh, it's the centre out of the cog, is it?
Yes, this is another piece that it's in the original concept, so it helps to see the overall shape of everything.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how you end up lining up that hammer when you push it inside
Ah, yeah.
and you can't see the centres of the circles anymore. I suppose you can still look from the other side, can't you?
Yeah.
But it looks like a tricky job.
Yeah, it was. But very interesting. It's like a puzzle.
Yeah.
with custom pieces.
Puzzles would be great if you could do that. I just need a piece that looks like this.
Most of the time I'm trying to here.
Okay.
I think I already
So now we're
inverted
trying to
it.
get the hammer to drop into the...
Yes, I already inverted it, so the hammer is in position now. I'm just replacing everything to fit correctly in the place and testing with the rotation. So I end up using a big bolt or screw in the middle of the support piece and the hammer. So there is a big space between them, but enough space for the hammer to be able to enter the cylinder. So that's
Okay.
And now we will see that with the weighted normals it looks much better. Not using any kind of normal mapping for this, it was not necessary. And with the weighted normals I'm just fixing some small parts where vertex are very close one with each other.
So this piece is actually twisted so that the hammer drops into the cylinder rather than being screwed on the other side of that plate, which is where I thought we were going. But it still does the job. It just looks slightly more intricate in actually doing it.
Yeah, you just put it and you have the hammer just in place and it goes directly inside the cylinder. Yeah, I'm just
Trying it out.
these are I'm just fixing some vertex normal information that looks like with a bad shading, so I'm just fixing it.
Okay.
And at this stage we can see that the hammer is in the other position and everything looks like more natural.
Yeah.
And you can see the big screw that it's separating both pieces.
Yeah. Yeah, so by now you should be able to pull it back and fire it.
Yeah.
Bang.
And I'm just fixing more vertex, trying to get the 90 degrees position for all of them, so that looks like very solid thing. And mostly it's fixing those things, and that's, that's a
No.
Windows update.
Important updates are pending. No, go away, Windows.
Goody.
Yes, since they've basically shut our machines down several days in a row with one particular update, or shut down our networking.
Don't we love updates?
Right. Okay, so now you've pushed that whole of the plate that actually holds the hammer in.
Yeah, and you can see now fixing this, but
Yeah.
the other piece is like this is just a support piece that takes the hammer and puts it in position so that you can make this movement and then release the trigger and the hammer goes to the cylinder.
Yeah.
And come back. So yeah, now just fixing more vertex normal.
It's funny, isn't it, just how much of the thing actually has to work to make it...
Yeah, it's because of this, because it was tricky. It was tricky, and there are not too many concepts with this. It's because it's a very special weapon, you know, very custom weapon for the game. It's
Definitely.
not something you can find in lots of references and things like that. But I think it finally looks really well. So personally, I'm happy with the result.
Yeah.
And
This is good.
She's
Yeah.
a nice looking weapon. So when does it go in the game, Sergi?
huh?
When does it go in the game?
The pistol, I don't know. Well, the pistol.
I guess we probably need to do a couple of animations on it first, which is
Yes.
the cocking and the rotating. Yes.
It's not
The
my
rotating
fault.
cylinder.
Yeah, it needs. Look at the space. That's the space for the hammer.
Yeah.
That's from the original. That the other frame is from the original model. Just had to tweak other things. So that this is the end result. So we can see the reference
Okay. Yeah.
right and the final model left with the normal maps. We just try to and the hammer.
Okay.
And
So
Cool.
we didn't actually get around to texturing today. So did we have another movie on texturing this gun?
It's best used as a gun. Oh, you could probably use it as a hammer.
next
If
week,
you
today, what I'm doing is cleaning up and UV maps and
Okay.
IDs, layouts, 3D code. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that is the gun as the concept art. So yeah, once you've done texturing, that's I guess what we're expecting to see, and it looks to me like it's going to look pretty damn close.
Pretty
I'm
fucking awesome.
I'm recording the UV layout as well.
Oh,
in case
excellent.
We don't have content to show.
No. It's nice to have the full process. I think people that watched will appreciate seeing the full process. All right, so that's our stream for today. Thank you very much for being with us as Sergi showed us the modelling of the pistol in our game After the Light, our zombie horror game. We'll be back tomorrow at 1 p.m. New Zealand Standard Time. That's UTC plus 12. So we'll see you then. So bye for now.
Keep cool till after school. You guys won't remember that.
No, I don't remember that. What's that about?
Oh, it's a long time ago. Ollie Olsen, program called After School. No, you wouldn't know because you weren't here.